Most churches are not growing, and we are going to explain why. So, Dad, would you agree?
I would agree, first of all, that most churches are not growing. And second of all, I would agree that we're going to explain why. Are those your two questions?
I don't know. Yes, that's the goal today. All right, so I'm just going to break this down very simply. I'm gonna break it down into a spiritual category and a practical category. So why aren't churches growing? Spiritually,
And by the way, as you do this, we have found that this issue of attendance frequency that you will be getting into, and that I just may put my hat on and sleep for a while while you do it.
Am I really that boring?
No, it's just this is your thing. So I will just stand aside. But let me say this: we know that attendance frequency is the number one problem. Yes, we also know that problem has been exacerbated during COVID. So this is both a good for any time, but especially a COVID issue. So
yeah, well, you got a little ahead. You got a little ahead. So
well, I'm gonna go to sleep.
No, you jumped right to the practical reason. So spiritually, we're seeing a lack of evangelism. We're seeing a lack of outreach. So I'm gonna attribute that to a heart issue, a spiritual issue, a problem with the church not doing the Great Commission. Practically, we're seeing a decrease in attendance frequency, and we're going to walk everyone through both of those things today. So let's start with the spiritual problem: lack of evangelism, lack of outreach. 82%. There's somebody came up with this number a while back. I don't know.
I still think it's a good number, by the way.
82% of your neighbors are open to an invitation to church, but only 2% of believers are inviting an unchurched person in a given year. Where did you do that?
That's in the book, The Unchurched Next Door.
Oh, that's right. I thought
it's an older book, but I still think the data is good because we have this perception that receptivity to invitations is low, and it's not.
Yeah. 82% of your neighbors are open to an invitation to church. But if you're talking about church members, only 2% are inviting people in a given year. That is a spiritual problem. That is a problem with churches doing the Great Commission and living the Great Commandment. So we'll start there. Why are churches not growing? Well, spiritually, they're not doing the work of evangelism. But there's also a practical reason. And I think that this one is less known.
It is
and unrealized in a lot of churches. So we're seeing practically a decrease.
You actually started, I'm talking over you, but I just want to give you credit. You're the one that got this issue out into the open a few years ago, and it's growing.
Well, it's a mathematical thing. And so people don't often think this way. But let's walk through the exercise. So, Dad, if you have a church of 400 people, which would be a little larger church, a church of 400 people, and all 400 people are coming 4 out of 4 weeks, what is your average weekly attendance?
Hang on, I got my calculator right here. 400.
Yes, you've done this exercise before. You don't need a calculator. The same 400 people come every other week. They come 2 out of 4 Sundays. What is your average weekly attendance?
400 divided by 2, hit the equal sign, 200.
There you go. Half the people are now, your attendance is cut in half. Same people.
And you haven't lost anybody.
You haven't lost anybody. The same 400 people come on average 1 out of 4 weeks. What's your average weekly worship attendance?
Now you're down to 100, and now you're getting down into what's pretty common for everybody but leaders these days.
Yes, your core is coming 2 out of 4, maybe 3 out of 4 weeks. And as of right now, we're seeing people who are just kind of connected to the church, but not part of the core, coming maybe 1 out of 4 weeks. So this trend is a very important trend. It's one that means that the demands of your church are bigger than what appears on a Sunday morning. So,
exactly.
These people that are coming 1 out of 4, 1 out of 8 weeks, basically twice a quarter, they're still calling you, that you still do their funerals, you still do counseling sessions. So churches are smaller in attendance, but they're actually, from a ratio perspective, bigger than what they used to.
Can I get clarification from you?
Yeah.
Are they calling you to do the funeral for them? You said they're calling you and
They're
we're
calling
doing.
to do funerals. Yes, the
Okay.
family members be a little weird. Hey, can you do my funeral on Saturday? So, okay, people used to come more often. So if you had a church of 400, it was maybe 500 people or 600 people because not everyone came every week. But now, if you have a church of 400 people on a Sunday morning, you're looking at a church that's 800, 1200, 1600 in terms of the number of people that are in the church. So attendance frequency means that your attendance is less. It's going down. But in many ways, the church is bigger than what it appears. And this is something that wasn't in the case maybe 10, 15, even 20 years ago. We're certainly seeing it post-pandemic, which makes sense. People aren't coming as frequently. But this is one of the biggest reasons why churches are declining. It's not that you're losing people. You may be, but you're really seeing them come less frequently. Now, the flip side of this
And
is
by the
important.
way, the before you get to the flip side, by the way, when you talk about the people for whom you are pastorally responsible, if you're a pastor or staff person, it is usually larger than your perceived membership because there are a lot of people who are not members who expect pastoral care.
Yes. So churches are smaller, but they are actually bigger, if that makes sense. They're smaller in attendance on Sunday morning, but as compared to the past, the churches have more people connected to the attendance. So if you got 400 in attendance right now, you're actually probably 800 or 1600. In the past, if you had 400 attendance, you might have been 500 or 600. But we're also seeing attendance go down. One of the main reasons is people are not coming as frequently. So the flip side of this is important. One of the most effective ways to grow your church right now with your own people is to increase attendance frequency. Let's do this exercise in the opposite direction. You have 400 people coming 1 out of 4 weeks, and you encourage them through groups and through serving to get them to 2 out of 4 weeks. Your average attendance,
You've
you
doubled your attendance.
just doubled your attendance. So you take 400 people coming 1 out of 4 weeks. That's an average weekly attendance of 100. You get them coming on average every other week mainly through groups and serving. Those are the 2 ways to do it. And now your church of 100 is averaging 200 on Sunday morning. So little exercise there for everyone. Got you thinking, got some math going. I hope that you enjoyed Dad and I walking through some math examples. If you want more of this, hit subscribe. Like the video, hit subscribe. And, we'd love to have you visit at Church Answers, where we are growing healthy churches together.